think we've all heard the expression, blood is thicker than water, but that's actually a change from the original expression, which is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Basically saying that found family is the best family. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. My top 5 found family books right here in this week when we're celebrating all of the people that we love and care about here in the United States. Now, I'll be honest, I had trouble determining what is the difference between this book features really good friends and this book features found family. I don't think there's a distinct line there. And so I even had a list and I put books on my list back because I was like, no, I'm just not, it's not clear that this is found family. So what I would love for you to do in the comments, how do you define found family specifically in literature? Where is that line for you between these are good friends and this is family? Generally, my first thought was that it would be, they didn't have a different family. So this is the family that they created to replace the family that they had. But in the first book I'm going to talk about, that is not the instance. And that is The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. This was getting a whole bunch of buzz when it first came out, and no one's been talking about it since, but it is so good. It is a female pirate captain adventure, and it's wonderful. So the found family in here is, of course, her crew. So the premise for this is that Amina was a pirate captain and she had her crew who was really like a family to her. But things happened, and so she ended up retiring from being a pirate. She goes home. She has a mother who she loves very much. She ends up having a child whom she loves very much. So she's given up her found family for her blood family, but then hijinks ensue and she ends up having to leave her blood family to go back and put back together this found family to do things. I'm trying not to give spoilers, but they have a quest that they have to go on, and the found family is right there. Like, what took so long? Like, let's be back together. Let's do this thing. I've been waiting for you. And they're right back to family. They're all back together and doing the things, and it's so good. I really do hope that there is more to this than just the one book. Right now it is a standalone. It works as a standalone, but I would love more pirating adventures, absolutely. But yes, so the pirate family, the found family, and it's wonderful, and I can't gush about this more. I don't know why all the conversation stopped when it released, because it deserves to still be talked about. The next is a book that I'm positive everyone expected to see on this list, and it is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This is a found family of orphanage children. I'm not going to say that they're orphans because they never make that clear. So this is actually the story of a man named Linus who works for Dicamy, which is a corporation that oversees orphanages for children with special abilities or powers. Why these children are not with their family is never discussed. Are all of these children actually orphans, or we don't get that? But it has been announced that there is a sequel, and I'm really hoping that my questions get answered and we find out why this is happening, why these children are in this new family. And so they are in an orphanage run by a man named Arthur, and these kids act like siblings. They're all different types and all different, they're so different from each other, and yet they all have this just wonderful kind of innocence to them. And they act like kids, they act like siblings. And so Linus comes in to oversee them, and hijinks ensue. And if you haven't read it, give it a read. It really is so good. And the family in here is so amazing. I absolutely cannot wait for the sequel. and I will probably do another reread. I think I've read this now 3 times. I think I will do another reread before the sequel comes out because I love this world and I love these kids and I love Linus and Arthur and the island and everything. And it is absolutely worth jumping in and being a part of this found family. The next one is another one where they have some real family. One part of that family is pretty sketch, but they do have a sibling that they care about, but they're not around, and so they create a family in their dragon riding school. So of course I have to talk about Fourth Wing, specifically about the found family aspect of Fourth Wing. So our main character is Violet. Her mother is the general in charge of this school that has 4 different quadrants. Violet was raised to be a part of the scribes, kind of the academics, the writers, the history keepers. And at the last minute, well, 6 months ahead, her mother says, no, you're going into dragon riding. You don't have an option. And so she's not built for dragon riding. She's not as strong. She's not been training for dragon riding her whole life like her older sister had been. And so she goes into it thinking basically my mother wants me dead. And she ends up at first believing that everyone there probably wants to kill her, but she makes friends and those friends become family to her. They are the people she goes to when she is able to ask for help or need help or want anything or need anything and have that connection. It comes from the other students in the school, as much as she tries to shut it down because it fly or die. The whole point of this school, and they tell you from page 1, is that so many of these kids in the school are gonna die, don't get connected, and yet the connections happen. And that's where I put the line for this one as being more found family than just friends. Friendship, you go into voluntarily, like you go into it thinking like these are going to be the parameters. Violet didn't go into this looking to make connections with people. She went into it really hoping she could live as long as possible, and yet she still ended up with this wonderful found family that she acquires through the novel, and it's really good. Yes, I did a reread this month, so this is going to be on my end of the month wrap up. I also read Iron Flame this month, and if you want to hear both of them, make sure that you subscribe so that at the end of the month when I make that video, I didn't make one for October, so they're going to be all together. So there's going to be a lot of books I've read that I loved and that I'm going to be talking about. So subscribe so that you are sure to get to see that video when it comes out. The last 2 books are by the same author, and I'm going to say that I feel like it is one of the things that this author does the best of everything from her that I've read, and that is Leigh Bardugo. This book ends up in like every video I make almost. I don't know why. It's just that kind of good, and I'm normally not a YA person. I work with teenagers. I don't need to read about teenagers, but these teens are just different. They are young. The folks in this book are young. It is a very young group that comes together. This is the found family because none of them have other family. And so they all find each other and they come together. They've been asked, well, one of them has been asked to do basically an impossible heist. He brings together this crew to do the heist with him, and they're all like, none of us have anything to lose. We just have each other. Let's do this together. And so hijinks absolutely ensue. It ends on a major cliffhanger, so you need to make sure you've got Crooked Kingdom waiting, because you're going to be like, wait, what? And then you're going to want to jump right into the next book. But if you have yet to read this, if you're like, I don't read YA, that's why I haven't read it, give this one a shot. There's not a lot of YA that I would say, even if you don't read YA, give it a shot. If you love found family books, if you love heists, it's not teen angst. There's no teen, like, high school anything. Like, this is a fantasy world. None of them are in school. None of them are doing any of that stuff. They're young people taxed with pretty adult life and death situations, and absolutely a wonderful found family, and give it a shot if you haven't. Okay, and so because I just said Leigh Bardugo, there was no way I couldn't do this, and it is Hellbent. This is also going to be on my next wrap up because I read this at the end of October. I don't have Ninth House here, and it was okay, I'm going to try to not do spoilers, but I will say just generally overarching, one of my things that I felt Ninth House was missing was the found family aspect. Like I said, Leigh Bardugo does it, chef's kiss, better than anybody. But the main character in that one is pretty much on her own. That changes in here, and I'm not going to say anything else other than that, but it's different. It changes. We still have her, but we have this newfound family that is coming together to try to do basically the impossible. And this one, to me, if you liked Ninth House and haven't read this one, give this one a read. This one to me was so much stronger, in part because we had those inner character dynamics that were missing in Ninth House. So amazing found family, wonderful book. I really can't wait to see where this group now goes. So 5 found family books, and I hope you are having a wonderful holiday week if you are here in the US and have the days off. I got the full week. Some people only get a couple of days. Whatever you get, I hope that if you are with family, that it is a wonderful and positive experience. I hope if you are not with family, that you are with a found family that's just as important, or in a wonderful book that is helping you go on adventures and get through this time of year. And so, in the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week, and that you get to read some absolutely amazing books, maybe with found family. Bye, y'all.